I'm so sick and tired of people coming on my account being like, when are you gonna address your diet? First and foremost, I am not focused on weight loss right now, nor should I be, because it is not something you should be chasing when you are recovering from surgery.
Don't bother losing weight before surgery. You guys have struggled with this idea of weight loss for so many years with things.
Y'all don't know what I eat. I don't make that much food content. I don't talk about what I eat. And frankly, you are not here watching me put food in my mouth. So how do you know what I'm eating? You see my body size and you make a lot of assumptions, but you don't know shit.
So welcome. It has been a while since we talked about Anna, and that's partly because I'm just slow. But also, I knew that if I jumped on every single little update as soon as it happened, I would just get buried under the more seasoned reactors. And frankly, they just do a better job at their on-the-fly reactions. So instead, I figured that I would just wait until Anna dropped her next YouTube video, and then I could do a whole recap with everything that's happened in the meantime, all neatly wrapped with a bow. And so I waited, and I waited, and I waited. And now here we are, something like 5 months since her last upload, and she still hasn't posted a single piece of long-form content. But she has been keeping busy. So what has Anna been up to during this first quarter of 2025? And yes, we're already a quarter of the way through 2025. So now would be a good time to check in on those New Year's resolutions. So even though Anna has been MIA on YouTube long format content, she has kept herself busy in other ways. She launched a podcast, The Medical Detectives, which had its first episode premiere on January 8th with Anna not only as a co-host, but also as their very first guest, where she shared her own journey of being a medical mystery.
My story is about a lot of different things. The stigma plus size bodies face when receiving medical care, the body positive movement, and also being a medical mystery and what that feels like.
And we'll get into that later. And so she's been hosting this show, putting out new episodes fairly regularly, about once a week. And on top of that, she's also been very active in her short form content through YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And without counting all the throwback posts that she was relentlessly posting through the start of the year, with absolutely zero context aside from hashtag throwback, even using the same description as the throwback or even no description at all, not counting those posts and considering the fact that she does cross post between these platforms, so she will have the same video on TikTok as Instagram and YouTube, she's been managing to squeeze out about 4 to 5 short form videos every week. Plus, I believe she does a lot of marketing and brand deals, so that probably keeps her fairly busy as well. I'm really not too sure about how much work goes into the brand deals side of things. But whether or not she does enough work to warrant her pay has been a topic of debate for many years now. And my opinion on this is somewhat mixed. Wouldn't anybody want to work less for more pay? If she's making enough to sustain herself, getting those sponsors and brand deals, I don't think there's any need to criticize how much or little she's working. To me, those sort of complaints just read as jealousy. And yeah, you can dislike me for saying that. That's fine. That's just my opinion. Anyway, last time we checked in on Anna, she had very recently had her second liposuction surgery, which was on her inner thighs. We went over some of the questionable recovery techniques that Anna was promoting, and we talked about some controversy that Anna was getting into regarding her apparent weight gain after these surgeries. And now, 3 months later, things have only gotten worse. And so today we're going to go over Anna's desperation to show progress and positivity in her journey, as well as her ongoing flare-ups and medical mystery. We're also going to talk about her 2 newest surgeries on her calves and arms, as well as her healing journey. And of course, we're going to go over the speculation over her apparent weight gain after what now amounts to several rounds of liposuction. However, in order to really understand this potential weight gain, we really need to take a look at her energy expenditure and, perhaps more importantly, her energy intake. For years, and maybe all the way back to when she started getting presence online, Anna has made it a point to show just how active she is, how much she works out, and how much she can do despite her weight. We've seen this in her multiple posts promoting Train Well, which was once Copilot, as well as her whole 5K run journey, and even her TikTok dances. It's all meant to create this illusion and to prove to her audience that Anna is active, that Anna works out, that Anna can do whatever a smaller body can do. But is it really an illusion? Because Anna does do all these things. We have video evidence of her doing the thing. And while she may be exaggerating the level of activity for her content, she does appear to move a lot, especially compared to the average 600-pound person. So at least to me, I believe that Anna believes that she's a very active person. And I also believe that Anna believes that activity is the most important thing when it comes to weight gain or weight loss. As long as she's moving, her weight shouldn't be a problem. And I believe that this mindset is not only why Anna has gone to such extreme lengths to show her level of activity, but also the reason why she's sought out other explanations for her weight. Because once she's maxed out at her activity level,
I was in Hawaii. We were filming swimsuits or something, as one does as a creator, and I couldn't walk in the sand. It hurt so bad. And there's a video of me somewhere, I'd burn it if I could, where I fall into the sand and I just cry. And in that moment, I was like, I am such a liar. And I think that moment is where I was like, I need to make some changes.
well, it can't be her food causing the problem, so there must be some other reason. In Anna's podcast, where she was discussing her own medical mystery, which we will go over in more detail later, Anna essentially confirmed that she doesn't understand that the whole equation to move more is also to eat less. Anna talks about how as a child, everyone was baffled why she was gaining weight, even though she was very active.
So the changes in my body really started to happen around puberty. I just started to gain weight, which was kind of unusual because I was always a really active kid. Like they used to call the church doors the Anna doors because I was running in and out of them all the time, causing trouble. And I used to do this dance where I would move my feet really fast because I just had so much energy. So it was puzzling to a lot of people, how was I gaining weight? And the first thing went to like, oh, she must be eating wrong, right?
Now, I wouldn't expect 8-year-old Anna to understand or have any sort of responsibility for her weight gain. She was a child. But as an adult, Anna should be able to look back and recognize how her diet and her eating habits contributed to her weight. And interestingly, she does have some very telling memories of her childhood eating habits, like sneaking cookies at just 6 years old. This snippet, which was captured from Sam at Every Size, is from Anna's memoir, A Life Full of Glitter. Anna writes that at age 6, I remember sneaking into the kitchen and stealing some cookies to snack on before dinner. My father had told me several times that under no circumstances was I to have any of those sweet, chocolate, morsel-filled biscuits before dinner. I don't know what morsel-filled means. I'm not sure if she just didn't have an editor or didn't care. Moving on. What he didn't know couldn't hurt him, right? As I found my way to the staircase, there were only a few carpet-covered wood stairs separating me from sweet success and even sweeter celebration. I had pulled off my heist. Victory was to be mine. And this little anecdote reveals something significant about Anna. Even as a child, Anna exhibited behaviors that were indicative of an unhealthy relationship with food. Yet now, some 30-odd years later, she still presents her weight gain as some unsolvable mystery, as if no one, including herself, could possibly understand why it happened. And in the same Medical Detectives podcast, Anna goes on to describe her obsession with food in great detail.
And I just remember during that period of my life that every once in a while I would get to eat normal food. So my mom, I remember, threw everything away in the house, had this big menagerie where everything that, in my opinion at the time, tasted good was in the garbage. We were left with brown rice, flavorless chicken, shredded wheat, and vegetables. That's it. And I remember, and I have this very vivid memory of when I was about, I want to say 10 or 11. I went to my friend Nikki S's house and her mom made me a cheeseburger. And I remember sitting there eating that cheeseburger being like, this is the best thing I've ever had in my entire life. This cheeseburger wow. And this is like cheese. It wasn't even probably that good of a cheeseburger, but because I'd eaten such terrible food for like a while.
Like we're talking In-N-Out cheeseburger or
Yeah, like it was probably like McDonald's cheeseburger, but I just remember being like, oh my God. I was like, my life has forever changed. Like music played, lights flashed. Like it was like this amazing thing. And I didn't die. There were no issues.
Having that sort of memory, that kind of reaction, lights flashing and music playing over a cheeseburger, that is not normal. And I'm not saying that this one instance and this one memory is indicative of a person with a food problem. This is a pattern of behavior. Anna isn't an anomaly. Her weight gain isn't some strange mystery. She ate in excess as a child and she has continued that through adulthood. But instead of acknowledging that, she clings to this idea that her activity level should have been able to override everything else. And later in the podcast, Anna reveals that sometime in her 20s, she went on Weight Watchers and was able to see some amount of success.
I think as we fast forward and I stopped losing weight, I lost about 100 pounds that way just by literally getting active as part of this Weight Watchers group.
And that wording there is important. Just by getting active, she lost 100 pounds. She does later claim that she was tracking calories, but Anna is notoriously an unreliable narrator to her own story. So I do have my doubts there. If it is true that she lost 100 pounds solely through exercise, then it would make sense why she eventually hit a wall. As her weight decreased, eventually her calorie intake would match her calorie expenditure, and any further weight loss would have either required upping the activity level, which wasn't possible because it sounds like she was just maxing out, or reducing calories, which I don't think happened. But instead, when the scale stopped moving, or even worse, went up, Anna saw this as an unexplainable phenomenon rather than a natural result of unchanged eating habits.
And I would go to Soul Cycle with these girls. I would run to Soul Cycle, do 1 to 2 Soul Cycle classes and run back. I started walking to work. So I would walk from Brooklyn to Midtown Manhattan, which is about a 4-mile walk. And I would walk there and back. And I started just becoming really, really active. Again, I never was like a binge eater or an overeater. So it kind of was like my activity just jumped up and that's where the weight went. But then it stopped.
And just a quick interjection there, Anna is talking about a time in her 20s where she's claiming that she was never a binge eater, she was never an overeater. And yet we have this now deleted blog from 2013, which she has tried hard to scrub from the internet, where Anna has written about after the binge, where she details her thoughts and feelings, describing a textbook case of eating away your feelings. Anna writes that, I felt that the only way to really calm my nerves this morning was to eat a Cinnabon someone had generously left in the office kitchen. After I had eaten all 880 calories of goodness, yes, that is how many calories one Cinnabon has, you're welcome, I turned to the bag of emergency skinny pop that I keep hidden in the back of my file cabinet. Next thing I know, I'm covered in nacho cheese, holding a milkshake, and crying over the fact that I can't find Dunkaroos anywhere in this stupid city. I had binged. And this wasn't a one-time thing. Again, she lets it slip that this is a pattern of behavior. Later, in that same blog post, she writes that I haven't had a full-on food binge since I started dieting 10 months ago. So it's a straight up lie for Anna to now claim that she never dealt with binge eating or was an overeater. But anyway, getting back to this idea that Anna seems to think that her activity level should override anything else and increasing activity should guarantee weight loss, Anna continues in her podcast.
I had lost weight and gained weight before, but this was very different because I was gaining weight while still maintaining a really healthy lifestyle. So I was still going to spin class. I was still running. I was still eating healthy. I was still walking to and from work. So it didn't make sense that I was gaining weight back.
She was gaining weight while maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Again, Anna is not the most reliable character witness to herself. eating enough to sustain her weight, which was still morbidly obese in her 20s, without turning to highly processed junk food is difficult to do. And ironically, in another deleted blog post, Anna even acknowledges this. A person my age and height that exercises lightly 3 times a week, such as a mile walk, and weighs 400 pounds, needs to eat a whopping 3,600 calories a day to maintain that weight. Do you know how hard that is to do if you are eating a balanced diet? It's damn near impossible. I've tried. But somewhere along the line, Anna lost sight of reality. At one point in her podcast, she did show some level of self-awareness, saying that she was worried that she was lying to herself, worried that maybe she was really overeating, and worried that she was delusional.
But I think I started to isolate myself because I was embarrassed that I wasn't able to keep up with my friends who were making, oh God, already crying, who were making all of these amazing changes in their life. And I was making the same changes, but not seeing the same success. So you begin to build this mental capacity of like, I must be lying to myself. I must be a failure. I don't want to have the conversation about why isn't it working. I was trying to compensate for what my body wasn't doing. And I thought, well, maybe if I just pushed harder, maybe if I just did more, it would change. And then when it didn't, I really did feel like a failure. I also felt like I was delusional. I think that's a really good word for my whole entire journey, is like, maybe I'm lying to myself, right? Like maybe I am eating all of these things. Maybe my calorie counting is off. Maybe I'm not exercising as hard as I think I am. Maybe I'm not going fast enough on that bike. So it becomes this constant internal, like, what can I do more, until you just break down and give up.
But instead of having that hard conversation with herself about why she wasn't seeing the same results as her friends, she went hard the other way. And instead of addressing her poor eating habits and clearly overeating, she clung on to this idea that her food intake was not the problem. And now, because Anna is so invested in the belief that her diet is not the problem, she reacts with extreme frustration and anger whenever anybody else suggests otherwise.
I'm just going to rant for like 2 seconds. I don't do this very often, but I want to today. I want to rant. I'm so sick and tired of people coming on my account being like, when are you going to address your diet? Y'all don't know what I eat. I don't make that much food content. I don't talk about what I eat. And frankly, you are not here watching me put food in my mouth. So how do you know what I'm eating? You see my body size and you make a lot of assumptions, but you don't know shit. Also, I'm in a slight flare up. Can you tell? She got those red cheeks, which means my immune system is pissed.
Yes, of course we make assumptions based on her body, because it is literally impossible to weigh over 500 pounds while also doing a shit ton of exercise, as Anna has claimed in the past, without over-consuming calories. That is not an insult. That is just the basic laws of physics.
Fat cells only, just what I said, fat cells only ever develop as a result of an imbalance between too much intake, which is eating and drinking, and output, which is movement, exercise. So to claim that lipedema can form fat cells on its own, I read that sometimes also from this group, contradicts the first law of thermodynamics. You also mentioned that in your video. This is a physical law, and even Mrs. Herbst cannot override this.
And no, we don't know every single thing that she eats in a day. We aren't there counting every calorie that goes into her mouth. But she has posted enough food content, like whatever this is, for us to get a general idea about what she puts in her mouth. And it's not just her food choices. Anna's drinking habits are also often called into question. Of course, we have the endless sugar-filled Starbucks drinks, but also we have the alcoholic beverages that also cause people to wonder whether or not Anna might have a problem, which honestly isn't too surprising of a leap to make, considering that she also used to have a podcast titled Vodka the Musical, where her and her co-host talked about all the things that made them want to drink. And I am by no means saying that Anna has a drinking problem. I have no idea. And I'm also not one of those types of people that say that nobody should ever have a drink. But alcohol is very high in calories, at about 7 calories per gram compared to sugar at 4 calories per gram. And alcohol, especially when also mixed with these sugary drinks, doesn't exactly fit into the sort of anti-inflammatory diet that Anna had once claimed to be following. And it doesn't fit into any sort of health-conscious diet that you'd expect from somebody who claims to be doing everything right.
Gosh, you've like done everything. You've done everything.
What do you mean?
Meaning like you've done every conservative measure, like you've done the dry brushing, the self MLD, don't have the pump yet, but you're working on that. You've been wearing compression, you've been exercising, you've been doing the diet, like you've done everything right.
Look at me. I left the house.
Yeah, that is Anna shortly after her liposuction surgery to get rid of the unburnable fat that she claims to have, drinking a sugary cocktail and calling it a win, because at least she left the house. And in that same rant about Anna going off about people not knowing what she eats, she also included some very telling text, writing that what I eat is none of your business. Am I the queen of perfect eating? Absolutely not. Obviously, Anna. In fact, this past week has been filled with questionable food choices. So Anna can acknowledge that some of her food choices are not the greatest, but yet when somebody else acknowledges that, suddenly it's offensive. Moving on, she writes, that said, the challenges I deal with in my body is not a result of my food choices or my weight. It did not cause my fibrosis. It did not cause my genetic issues. It did not cause me to have autoimmune disorders. Also, eating mashed potatoes every once in a while makes me a nicer person. And my God, if this has been her as a nicer person, girl needs some therapy. So let's break this little rant down a bit. First, she says that her problems are not a result of her food choices or her weight. But let's not pretend here. Her severe obesity was absolutely caused by her food intake. Maybe her genetics played a role in how and where her body stores fat, or how she experiences hunger and satiety. But as the saying goes, genetics loads the gun and lifestyle pulls the trigger. And as for her claim that her weight has nothing to do with her fibrosis, well, it just took me one Google search of obesity and fibrosis to find that according to this study, increases in adipocyte volume, basically increases in fat and tissue mass due to obesity, can result in inflammation, further dysregulation in adipose tissue function, and eventually adipose tissue fibrosis, or fibrosis of the fat. This finding that obesity and increases of fat on your body can lead to fibrosis is not a unique or isolated study. Here's another finding that essentially obesity leads to fibrosis, or another stating basically the same thing. So yes, Anna is absolutely just talking out her ass when she says that her weight and her obesity did not at least contribute to her developing fibrosis in her fat. Anna also claims that her food and weight did not have an impact on her autoimmune disorders. She doesn't specify which autoimmune disorders, so we can't be too precise here. But one thing she has mentioned in the past is her Hashimoto's disease, which is an autoimmune disease affecting the thyroid. Well, again, we're just one Google search away from finding that Anna is talking out her ass. In this meta-analysis, which is like an accumulation of many studies together, in this case 22 studies, it was found that obesity was significantly associated with a risk of hyperthyroidism, and obesity was clearly associated with Hashimoto's thyroiditis. And again, we don't know much about which autoimmune disease that Anna is claiming isn't affected by her diet or her weight, but many conditions can either be aided or exacerbated by your dietary choices. And we know that obesity itself is a risk for all-cause mortality, increasing your risk for not only developing a number of scary conditions and diseases, but also increasing the risk of complications due to those conditions. And way back when, before the microchip in Anna's brain short-circuited, Anna actually understood and acknowledged that obesity was bad and a major cause of many diseases and leading to many complications with those diseases. Going back to that deleted blog, Anna writes that, I also know that if you are obese, having a BMI of 30 or higher, you are significantly more susceptible to cancer, depression, and heart and lung and joint problems. Additionally, God forbid you ever get diagnosed with a serious illness, because your ability to successfully overcome that disease is significantly less if you are obese than if you are a healthy weight. Somewhere along the line, Anna either forgot or completely blocked this knowledge from her psyche. And now her weight, her food intake, her diet have nothing to do with the problems that she's facing. And in the last little part of the rant there, saying that mashed potatoes every once in a while makes her a nicer person, I don't understand her obsession with potatoes.
Some of you don't allow yourself to enjoy potatoes, and it shows. I hate hard-boiled eggs, so I'm looking forward to having potatoes this Easter instead, economical and more tasty. Potatoes are my therapy.
Potatoes aren't inherently bad. It's really how you cook them and what you do to them, all the added cream and butter and cheese that turns them into a calorie bomb. Or, just like eating a literal bucket of mashed potatoes, like Anna did a few years ago with that Thanksgiving feast for one. Anna wrote, "I'm alone this year as a result of COVID, so I decided to cook up a feast for one. Well, two, because Data will be getting all the snacks today, and then blah, blah, blah. But then look at that massive bowl of mashed potatoes next to the entire tray of cookies and 3 dinner rolls. No one person needs to put this spread out for themselves, especially not somebody like Anna, who admittedly has suffered from binge eating and is very obviously still overeating to this day. So sure, Anna, we have no idea what you eat." And right after her little rant saying, "You don't know what I eat," Anna promptly posted another video detailing exactly what she ate. Anna posted this meal prep video, which, according to her, was filmed over multiple days. Because despite sitting down to cut onions, Anna was not able to stand long enough to cook all of this food at once. And no tea, no shade if you have to sit down and take breaks. It's just Anna's constant messaging that she's this inspirational fitness queen, that she's so active, she works out, even saying on her podcast that when she goes out for walks, she doesn't sit.
The things I was doing and have always done were always questioned, right? It was like, oh, she's just walking 5 steps for camera and then sitting down, which if you've ever met me, I'm not a sit downer ever. I do too much, and it's something I've actually had to relearn.
It's fine if you need to sit down and rest, Anna. That's not the point. It's the fakeness and the lies. Now, getting back to her meal prepping, Anna goes on to say she's back on that meal prep train. Cooking meals for the week means I eat better, and when I eat better, I feel better. It's as simple as that. So Anna admits that the food that she eats affects her at least in some way. During this video prepping for the week, Anna prepared sausage and spinach quiche, which we see her making 2 quiches, portioning out into 6 containers for the week. So that's a third of a quiche per portion. She also makes low sugar, high protein banana pudding. And again, we see her doling out a huge portion into these containers. And she also makes sweet chili chicken over rice, where we see Anna cooking some onions and peppers, which I assume is for that dish. But of course, she isn't going to show how much rice she actually portions out for her meals. And finally, stuff for snacks and sandwiches. Gotta have those snacks, don't you, Anna? And we know what she considers a snack. Like last year when she showed us the snackle box amounting to something like 1,500 calories.
Just the way I like it.
And still, this is all what Anna is willing to show us. We still don't know exactly what she's eating or how many calories she's eating day to day. But she does appear to be either maintaining or even gaining after her liposuctions. And I think this part got dropped somewhere along the line, but Anna claimed that she was going back on weight loss meds.
First and foremost, I am healing. I'm healing well. I am 3.5 weeks, about-ish, my second surgery, which means next week I get to start working out. Now, with that in mind, and I'm sharing this solely because a lot of people do not know it, because these medications usually get talked about in the terms of weight loss, but they also have other benefits which can be honestly life-changing for people with autoimmune conditions and like lymphatic conditions. So I am personally going back on Wegovy.
And I'm sure she must be off of those now, because I don't think eating a third of a quiche is recommended while taking weight loss meds. Now, regardless of the volume that we see Anna preparing, I do think that most of what she's cooking here is relatively healthy. I'm always going to say that home cooked food is better than processed garbage or even eating out at a restaurant, because you can just control what you're eating more and control what goes into the food when you're cooking from home. So at least to me, meal prepping and cooking at home is at least a step in the right direction, if it were a consistent habit. During that whole meal prep video, Anna looked tired and angry. I don't think she enjoyed this act of self-care at all. And exactly 1 week after meal prepping this week's worth of food, Anna decided that this time she was going to meal prep with her favorite restaurant, Nando's. In the text, she says, "Some days you just need a break. So instead of cooking for the weekend, I ordered a family order of Nando's chicken to meal prep for the next few days." So she says she ordered a family order. Well, the great people of Reddit were able to prove that this was not just one family meal. The user ThatGirl317317 ordered this family meal, which came with 2 large chicken skewers, a couple of chicken legs, 2 sides, and a box of fries. Anna's hoard is clearly larger. And now I don't know what sides Anna chose, and I don't know how many days this supposedly covered. Although saying that she's meal prepping this for the next couple of days and spreading out only 3 containers is a bit concerning. And I just cannot understand why someone like Anna, who has decent income and lives downtown, why would you order food like this? Why would you just not order it as you need it? I do not understand why Anna thought that ordering this much food and portioning it out into these containers was doing anything. She was not weighing her food or counting calories, so why bother doing this at all? And this is not the first time that Anna wanted to meal prep with Nando's. Earlier in the year, she patted herself on the back for being brave and eating out all alone. This, which she posted at the beginning of the year, was a story where she wrote, "Nando's sent me this adorable bag and reminded me of a funny story. I wanted to meal prep for the New Year's." Which, first off, reminded you of a funny story that happened like 4 days ago? Okay, Anna. "I wanted to meal prep for the New Year's by having really good meals ready to go. But I was also super lazy and didn't want to cook said meals. So I was like, I'll just get catering from Nando's and meal prep from that. Turns out, Nando's does not do catering to their Austin location yet. So I showed up all ready to buy out the menu, and instead, I just ate in by myself. No regrets." Now, I feel like this bag is a sign I should go back, order all the things dine in, and get take-home boxes. 2025 is a year to be brave. I really don't care what people think of me, and Nando's is freaking delicious. So, a funny story, I went out to Nando's and I ate so much food that they gifted me this tote bag. How embarrassing. But no, to Anna, aren't I brave? No, Anna, wanting to get catering services for one person is insanity, and calling that meal prep is delusional. And her calling this a win for being so brave for eating out alone is just more of Anna's toxic positivity. More of her just trying to make anything sound like an achievement, like an improvement, like progress, when really it's just some mundane thing. Which really isn't too surprising given that she also has written that she wants to get stars for doing mundane tasks, writing in one post that adults need prize culture. I'd love to earn stars for doing mundane little life tasks, and if I do a good job, get to pick from a prize from the plastic treasure chest at the end of the week. Just more of Anna trying to pat herself on the back for any little thing she does, which she quite clearly admits in that text. Now, at the very beginning of this year, Anna posted a video detailing her intentions for the year to come. She wrote in the post that, "Here's to sparkling more in 2025. 2024 was a hard but powerful year for me. While I'm proud of everything I did, I felt I lost some of my sparkle. I was emotionally fatigued, overwhelmed with what I learned about my body, and figuring out who I was in a body that felt like a stranger to me. This year, my goal is to sparkle more. Let the negative reflect only more light. Let the dark be illuminated and magnify as much joy as I can in the world." Well, she's definitely already broken that goal, considering all of her rants and emotional meltdowns, which we haven't even gotten through of all of them yet. Anyway, she continues on saying, Also, for me, sparkling means acknowledging my successes and celebrating them, something I struggle to do. I'm ready to take on 2025 and all the challenges and opportunities to shine it gives me. She says that she struggles to acknowledge and celebrate her successes, but I really disagree with that. Anna can turn the most mundane thing into a heroic journey of resilience. We've already seen this with her celebrating the bravery it took to eat alone, or patting herself on the back for getting a cocktail because at least she left the house. But one of her most egregious examples of delusion and just pure gluttony is the sheet cake incident of 2022.
I've totally freaking failed. Like, I totally failed, and so, like, I totally let so many things go, right? I did not calorie count. I ate crap. I ate a lot of crap. I cried over a sheet cake. I'm not going to pretend like that didn't happen. I 100% bought a sheet cake and cried over it. Sheet caking, as one might refer to it. And I just feel like I'm not upset at myself for that, which is weird. Maybe I should be. Maybe I should be disappointed that I didn't reach my health goals or whatever. But it's like, at that point in time, it was about survival, right? And like, literally it was about finding the urge to like get up and do anything. And if that thing was eating a sheet cake, well, at least I got up and did something, right?
I beg your finest pardon, Miss Ma'am. At least you got up to do something.
And the process to get that sheet cake forced me to get out of the house and go buy a sheet cake. No, let's be real. I got it delivered. I'm not even gonna lie. I got it delivered.
No, Anna does not struggle to acknowledge her successes. She struggles with recognizing when something isn't one. And when the bar is that low, I don't think she lost her sparkle in 2024. I think she's just too busy polishing shit to realize that these events should be wake-up calls. And in other news of Anna trying to polish a turd to feign success, or at least progress in the right direction, Anna gave us a little update in early January showing her progress in running. Many people rightly pointed out here that Anna appeared larger in the after photo than she did in the before video. However, Anna claims that first of all, she is smaller, but that wasn't the focus of the video. She's just happy she's running faster. Yeah, according to Anna, she is faster now, or at least she feels faster. Because did she track her speed? Did she time herself? Did she tell us anything about how long she ran for or what her pace was in the before and after? No, of course not. So this side-by-side really isn't giving us the full picture. On top of that, was she even trying to run her fastest in that before video? Or was she just running along to use this as some footage in some content? All this little side-by-side did was show us that in one video, she's running as fast as she could, while in another, she's just running along with no purpose. It's really not fair to race against somebody who has no idea you're actually racing. And does she forget about that whole 5K run journey that happened not even a year ago? And now she's patting herself on the back for doing the smallest little task and calling it improvement. And another before and after that she used to feign success was this one, showing that she can now kick higher. But again, was she even trying to kick as high as she could in that first one? What else did she do that day? This little kick thing used to be part of her warm-up for these co-pilot workouts. She's just taking some random screen grab from an arbitrary point in time, which I think this was captured in like March 2023. But I couldn't find the exact footage, so I could be wrong on that. But she's taking this and just claiming that her mobility has improved, with the caption reading, "I didn't make a change in my life to be smaller. I made the change to be able to live bigger." When I started this journey, I was seeing simple things like tying my shoes become challenging due to mobility issues, inflammation, and pain. Now, I sometimes forget I even struggled with those things. This video really made it obvious. You can see how hard I'm trying in the first clip to do something that is now easy in the second clip. My lesson for myself today is to always remember where I came from and thank that version of myself for doing the hard work to get me here. Hard work where, Anna? And like, that's great if she really is more mobile now and in less pain. I really can't assess that from just looking at her photos or videos. But she's picking and choosing somewhat randomly what to measure her success on, without any measurement measurements or real numbers to back it up. Because while we can see maybe some subtle improvement in one area of mobility like her kicking higher, there is clearly a regression in other facets of her movement. Like in this next video where she's showing us her squat depth, if you can even call it that. She's barely getting down to 45 degrees. And in the text it reads, "I'll take a win where I can get it. I still can't work out my arms because of the recent lipo, but it feels great just to move more even if I am still a little limited." This is a far cry from having that 90-degree squat that she claimed to have just in September last year. So while it's all good and well to have targets and goals to reach for and to track your improvement to see those little changes, I don't think she's really being honest with either her audience or herself regarding this supposed progress. And I should mention that after she posted this little baby squat video, she also posted a video popping a squat outside of various establishments where she does sink much deeper than she did in that first video. But she still appears to be moving with much less fluidity than she did in years past. And honestly, it looks like she's in pain getting back up. And as Shakara Transformations pointed out, Anna wearing compression gear on her legs like this actually helps her get up from a squat. This compression gear is probably acting like a mild knee brace, allowing her to spring back up a little bit more. So whether or not she's actually gained some mobility or improved her levels of pain is a bit questionable. And if I were to guess, I don't think that she's removed enough volume to see any sort of noticeable difference in her mobility. She's still got a massive amount of fat that is blocking her from doing basic movements. But I do believe that she probably at least feels a bit better for removing some of that fat and fibrosis. But real, measurable changes? That's a whole nother story, literally. Another small win that Anna claimed to have was fitting into this shirt that she once was too big for.
Today is a good day. I left my house. I went to Starbucks. I filmed a little video with John. I'm in a shirt that I could not even wear before because it was too tight in the sleeves. And look at this. Look at this. It's a beautiful day to be alive.
And she's claiming to fit in this while pulling the absolute life out of that sleeve. And of course, with her wearing compression gear after getting literal chunks of her flesh removed from her arms. I would be really worried if she wasn't smaller. And I think now is a good time to talk a bit more about those recent surgeries that she's had, which were totally medically necessary and not cosmetic at all.
I'm in a cab heading back from my MLD and I'm pissed off because TikTok just flagged one of my videos where I documented my lipedema removal surgery because they said I was promoting a negative body image because I was promoting cosmetic surgery. Let's just be very clear. Lipedema removal surgery is not a cosmetic surgery. It is a medical procedure to treat an illness. It is different than normal liposuction. It requires more technical skill and it's removing fibrosis from the body, which actually can cause complications with your joints and your organs. So yeah, it's not a cosmetic procedure, and that's some bullshit.
So she's all excited, showing us her progress and how she now fits into this shirt because she's smaller, but it's not a cosmetic procedure. All right, Anna, more on that in a bit. Last time we checked in on Anna, she had recovered from her first liposuction surgery, which was on her outer thighs and took place sometime in July 2024. Just a month later, in August 2024, Anna went in for her second liposuction surgery, this time on her inner thighs. And this second surgery was apparently much more difficult for her to recover from. And Anna took a much longer break before hopping back onto the operating table in January 2025, when she had her third liposuction surgery, this time on her arms and her calves, while at the same time also having a brachioplasty.
I have a condition called lipedema, and I've been prepping for my next surgery, which is just a few days away. So my next surgery is on my arms and calves. And as part of that surgery, I'm getting something called a brachioplasty. A brachioplasty is actually where they remove the excess skin from your arms.
Excess skin where, Anna? Anna did not have loose skin on her arms. What she had was fat. Fat that had to be sucked out before getting anything like a brachioplasty. A brachioplasty that happened at the same time as the liposuction, so nobody ever saw any loose skin on Anna's arms. The brachioplasty wasn't necessary because of loose skin. She created the loose skin by getting the liposuction. And even her surgeon confirmed that she wasn't full of loose skin prior to the surgery.
How are you?
Really good. How are you? Very heavy fullness and glow. Yeah. It's all gonna go away. Yeah.
Yeah, a heavy fullness. That is nowhere the same as having loose skin. In fact, it's quite the opposite, but you know, details. During this pre-op appointment, which appears to be either the day before or the day of surgery, Anna also had some progress photos taken. So we can see just how much she's changed after 2 rounds of liposuction on her legs. And oh boy, this is where things get interesting. Because the changes that Anna has made over the course of 6 or 7 months now and these 2 liposuction surgeries, well, the changes are negligible. And I got the idea off of, I can't remember if it was a Farms or a Reddit user, but somebody posted a photo showing the before and after, with the after photo being like a transparent layer on top of the before photo. So I took the photos again and I tweaked it just a little bit because they weren't quite lined up to my liking. And so I scaled the images, brought them to AutoCAD, and did far too much work for what I actually did here. But it's done. So here we are. This is the before, and this is the after. Before, after. Again, this is before and after. And it doesn't matter how many times I flip through, it's like a guessing game to see what has changed. And it's the same thing when I layer the after image over as a transparent layer. A near perfect match. Nothing has changed over the past 6 or 7 months. And the same thing goes for the profile shot. This is before and this is after. Before, after. Before, and after 2 liposuctions and half a year of hard work. And as a transparent layer, this time, you can actually see a slight increase in the gut area. But that could just be down to the stance or the undergarments. So yeah, to me, there has been no noticeable change aside from maybe a little bit of more like sagginess in the inner thighs, but definitely nothing close to what she could have achieved if she had been focusing on her diet. And because there's been a lot of discussion lately about Anna's true size, I thought I'd add my stupid little scaled images to the mix because, you know, I've already put in the work. So there was this post floating around on Reddit showing somebody who had found the cryovac chamber thing that Anna fit into. This chamber had an opening of 26 inches, and seeing that Anna just barely squeezed in, they did some quick math and found her circumference to be about 82 inches or 2.08 meters. And as much as I appreciate the thought and detective work that went into this, I did find a little bit of an error in this whole equation. So as I mentioned, I scaled Anna's images knowing that she's about 5'11", but I also took off 1.5 inches just to account for like a little bit of slouch, and also her feet were a little bit apart in these photos. So now with that scaled image, her hip diameter appears to actually be about 70 centimeters or about 27.5 inches. So a little bit larger than that cryovac chamber, which supports her having to squeeze into the thing, and even shifting the thing backwards as she fit herself in. But Anna's cross section is not circular. She's more of like an ellipse shape if you were to slice her in half at the thighs. Oh my god, it's so gruesome. So I then took her profile shot, scaled that, lined it up with her forward-facing view, and you can see that the widest part of her hips in the front view does not line up with the widest part of her hips in the side view. So some more quick maths now using the formula for an ellipse, not a circle, and her circumference around the widest part of her thighs is about 1.76 meters or about 69 inches in freedom units, which is somewhat less than the Reddit claims of 82 inches in circumference. And just for fun, I also measured the widest part of her bum, which is not the widest part of her thighs. And at this location, she's about 1.92 meters or about 75 inches in circumference. Anyway, do with that what you want, because honestly, at this point, I am over this discussion. Like, yes, Anna is big. She is huge. She is as big as a fridge. Okay, we get it. She wears clothes that are too small, unable to close, and stretching the fabric and making the pattern unrecognizable. Yes, she's lying that she's only a size US 22 or whatever it was. So I think we can all agree that she is a big lady, and that is all I'm going to do on this topic, unless she makes any sort of noticeable change that requires revisions to this whole calculation. But honestly, I'm over it. So where were we? Yes, so Anna has shown zero change, zero improvement since her surgery. And I'm sure that Anna will say that surgery wasn't about shrinking her body, that she's actually improved because she's gained mobility or improved her pain or this or that. But she needs to lose weight at this point. And all of these issues with inflammation and pain would be greatly improved if she could just take weight loss seriously and understand that her obesity is the primary thing that needs to be treated. And it's really frustrating to me that Anna has gone down this route of requiring liposuction to cure her lipedema, considering her weight. And even more frustrating that she has such a large following that believe in her messaging, that all the fat that she has left to lose is unburnable by her body. It is not. It is 1000% not all unburnable. And I've even seen people comment on how they too were overweight and they started to wonder that maybe their efforts are in vain. Maybe the fat that they have on their body is really unburnable. And this is why Anna's messaging is so damaging. So to those people who start to question whether or not the fat that they have to lose is burnable, you have to know that your efforts are not in vain. Just because you hit a plateau does not mean that your body is incapable of losing fat. Weight loss takes time. It's difficult, and plateaus are natural, but that does not mean you should just give up. If what you're doing isn't working, it's time to be honest and reassess your approach. Make adjustments and keep going. Keep showing up for yourself so you can continue to move forward in a positive way. Do not listen to Anna's messaging. And I've had many people get mad at me in my comments. People who are on Anna's side and believe everything that Anna has to say. That all of her fat is unburnable, and even citing Dr. Herbst's research in my comments. Dr. Herbst being the researcher lady that Anna follows and takes advice from. And I'm not going to go over all the problems with Dr. Herbst and all of her friends that make up the USA standard of care for lipedema in the US. I already covered that topic very briefly in my prior video, but if you want a really good in-depth documentary about the subject, Colin Mockery has done a fantastic job, and I will link his documentary in the description below. And after Colin's deep dive documentary on lipedema and the controversies around it, Colin later had an interview with lipedema expert Dr. Tobias Bercht. I know I'm saying that wrong, I am so sorry. And this man praised Colin's work for its accuracy.
I watched your video twice, despite the 3-hour length, but I didn't notice any mistakes. So to be honest, I was extremely impressed by your video. It's actually the best researched and most comprehensive work I have seen on this topic in many years, and I work for 20 years now in this field. So I have now distributed it to numerous colleagues around the world, including my colleagues from the ILA board. And they wrote to me, they were also very impressed by the thoroughness of your research. However, everyone was also shocked by the economic entanglements of this group and how dubious this pseudo-scientific approach is.
So Dr. Bercht is part of the ILA, or the International Lipedema Association. And the ILA do not agree with Dr. Herbst or the US standard of care for lipedema. In fact, much of the recommendations given by Dr. Herbst directly contradict what is recommended according to the international standard of care.
Is the second point. I find the Herbst group's assertion that severely obese patients primarily suffer from lipedema and need liposuction much more disturbing. I say to patients like these, patients with a BMI of 40, 50 or even more, if the diagnostic criteria for lipedema are correct, then I say to these patients, okay, you suffer from lipedema. that makes up 5% of your disease. But 95% of your disease is called obesity, and obesity is a disease and not a matter of fault. And we should first and foremost focus on your main disease, which is obesity.
It is really concerning that Anna continues to put out this messaging that liposuction is her only way to move forward and her only option to cure herself when she hasn't put in the effort to cure her real problem, her super morbid obesity. So because she refuses to deal with her weight, which is a direct result of her food intake, Anna proceeds with liposuction round 3, this time on her arms and calves. And once the fat was sufficiently sucked out from her arms, she also got a brachioplasty during that same procedure, leaving a hunk of flesh on the operating table behind her.
Oh my god, this is where the piece of meat is. Do you see that piece of meat in the back there? That's her freaking arm, guys.
Lovely. In the end, Anna is stitched up and left with a horrific scar from armpit to elbow. And this, unfortunately, is typical with a brachioplasty. If you have a surgery like this, you should expect a long scar, elbow to armpit. But to Anna, this was magic. And she was extremely pleased with her results.
Oh my god. Yeah. Tiny. Moshrefi magic.
I mean, look at already have his definition of the muscle here in a way.
I have muscle.
Yeah, you need a great result.
It's kind of insane. Like, it doesn't even look like my arm. Wait a minute. Are these mine? Super cute. They don't feel like mine.
If this were purely cosmetic, I really wouldn't care. It's the portrayal of this as a necessary medical procedure that even TikTok's algorithm apparently picked up on that really bothers me. Anyway, Anna got the skinny arms that she was after, and the before and after photos shows that she really did lose quite a bit of mass on her arms and calves. And maybe Anna's not worried about the scarring. Many people are aware and understand that a brachioplasty comes with a long scar, and yet they still continue to go through with the surgery. As long as you're aware of the outcome, I see no problem with this. But Anna is talking about this as a magic surgery with a hidden scar. Miss Anna with the alleged Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, a syndrome with one of its key characteristics being fragile skin causing abnormal scarring. You'd think that she'd be a bit more concerned for something like this. And her claims of having this Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, I really don't know whether or not she does or does not have this condition, but there are a lot more issues that Anna has been hinting at over these past few months. In addition to the Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, as well as the lipedema and Hashimoto's that we've already discussed a little bit here, Anna has also mentioned her sleep apnea, which requires a CPAP machine. She also has mast cell activation syndrome, rare obesity genes,
the rare obesity gene panel. And how do I know this? Because I recently had it done. And I happen to have 2 of these genes, and they're both considered ultra rare, which means there's not enough of the population for the medical community to give like guidance on how to treat it, what it is, why it's happening, et cetera, et cetera. They just know that it affects your weight, but that's about it.
Honestly, the list just keeps growing. At one point, Anna even appeared in a diabetes commercial for a blood glucose monitor.
Adding protein to my morning bagel has helped stabilize my glucose. Find out what works for your body with Lingo.
And despite appearing in this ad, Anna has claimed in the past that she does not have diabetes and she's not even pre-diabetic.
Like, I went from pre-diabetic to not diabetic in 4 months. And I didn't do anything that felt like a burden.
So I don't know if this was just her being like a paid actor in the commercial or if potentially her diabetes status has changed. But also earlier in the year, before her surgeries, she also claimed to have a flare-up, the term that Anna uses for whenever anything is ailing her. She had this flare-up that was so bad, it caused her to have a chest infection. But she had to also include the good news that she no longer needs her blood pressure medication. She has also claimed to have ADHD and be neurodivergent.
And I'm sure that makes me seem neurodivergent, and that's because I am.
And again, I don't know if any of these claims are true. And lately, she's also been hinting at some new mystery autoimmune illness, which she claims she's not ready to talk about yet. So she's got a lot going on and a lot of ammunition to use as excuses when maybe she's not doing as well as she should be or working as hard as she claims to be. And in addition to using the flare-up excuse, Anna now also has the excuse of recovering from surgery. So of course she's not losing weight. She shouldn't be focused on weight loss.
I don't want this to become a trend, but I'm at it again. I'm ranting again because I just got some DMs that made me so mad. First and foremost, I am not focused on weight loss right now, nor should I be, because it is not something you should be chasing when you are recovering from surgery.
Anna doesn't need to be actively focused on dieting or obsessing over weight loss to at least make better choices. At her size, Anna should be significantly more focused on weight loss than she is. But she doesn't care. She doesn't even believe that her diet, her food, her weight has any correlation to her health issues. And worse still, I think that she now genuinely believes that all of her food choices are good, because in her mind, her weight gain was not her fault. It was her genetics, her autoimmune conditions, her lipedema, not her choices and her actions that led her to becoming so severely overweight and developing all these major health concerns. All these health conditions in her mind absolved her of any responsibility. But while genetics and metabolism and even some of these health conditions can play a role in things like appetite or fat distribution or even energy expenditure, none of that negates the fact that excess calorie intake is causing her to gain weight. On the day before surgery, she had to stop off at a restaurant to get dumplings and God knows what else. In the days after surgery, she went to Trader Joe's stocking up on cookies and junk food. In the weeks after surgery, she was ranting about potatoes and meal prepping with Nando's. And a month after surgery, when she was finally cleared to exercise, the first thing she did was take a 9-minute walk to get a sugar-filled Starbucks drink. Anna is not just not focused on weight loss because she's recovering. She's not focused on weight loss because she doesn't believe it's necessary or even under her control anymore. And now she's using her surgery as an excuse to justify that. Because according to her, it's the surgery that's controlling what she eats.
Surgery controls how much you can move. It even controls what you eat. And additionally, it's really taxing on your mental health. So a lot of this is just like getting through the best you can. Additionally, post-surgery, people tend to swell a lot. In fact, most people weigh more post-surgery than they did going into surgery. And that's because everything that's taken out of your body gets replaced with water and then some. So your body's and its weight is like all over the freaking place.
Anna's latest liposuction surgeries were done at the end of January 2025, which, by the way, was not only 10 or 11 liters of fluid removed, but also removed literal chunks of flesh from each arm. This clip, complaining that the surgeries are causing her to swell, was posted on around March 7th, a month after these surgeries. And she's still claiming that this weight gain is just swelling from her surgeries. Most swelling from liposuction should go down within a couple of weeks. If she's still blaming fluid retention for this weight gain, maybe that's something she should bring up with her doctor. And I do not know what she means by surgery controls what you eat. Surgery does not make you overeat. If she's still using food to cope, and if she's still justifying her bad habits under the guise of needing to just get through the day, that's extremely concerning. And it makes it clear that she still hasn't dealt with her food addiction. And she still relies on food as her primary or maybe even only coping mechanism. And Anna's not even done with her rant yet.
Additionally, telling me that if I just lost weight, all my health issues would magically be corrected is so ignorant. I don't even know what else to say about it. Like, obviously lipedema can't be lost with weight loss. Autoimmune disorders don't just disappear because you lose weight. Weight might make things more manageable, but it's not a cure.
I don't think there's really anyone out there claiming that Anna would be the pinnacle of health if she were to just lose weight. However, many of her conditions, including her lipedema, would be significantly improved if she just focused on weight loss. Anna claims that obviously lipedema weight can't be lost, but that's just not true. While some lipedema fat will remain even after weight loss and will continue to just be stubborn, Anna still has a substantial amount of other fat to lose. Fat that isn't lipedema related. It's damaging to spread this misinformation that all of her excess weight is unburnable, because it's not. These statements are simply untrue. It's just more of her delusion. And by spreading this delusional thinking, Anna's influencing others to also believe that maybe their fat is also unburnable, that maybe they too shouldn't be so focused on weight loss because they aren't in control of their weight either. And just like the day after Anna posted this rant, Anna had another blow up getting mad at fitness influencers, saying that the worst part about this is I just know some sleazy fitness creators who are going to sell you some miracle cure weight loss program are going to use these videos to create content that attacks me. This in turn will drive more people to say unhinged things to me. This is the cycle that I will be in until I magically wake up thin. Oh my god, Anna. No, it is you saying the unhinged crazy things that is the catalyst to these fitness influencers reacting to the things you're saying. They don't want you to magically wake up thin. They want you to be held accountable for your shit messaging saying that you have several hundred pounds of unburnable fat left. Anyway, she goes on to say, this is a cycle that I will be in until I magically wake up thin. Since that's likely never happening, I will continue to get attacked for simply trying to do the best I can and encouraging others to do the same. I genuinely cannot understand why they have so much hate for me when all I've ever encouraged people to do is move more, eat more protein, and go to their doctor if their body feels off. I also don't understand why people trust these people who are constantly trying to sell them some snake oil by dissecting people's lives and attacking them. How did these people ever become a reliable source? Anna's doing a great job of sticking to those New Year's resolutions of sparkling more and not listening to the haters. And just a brief interjection here, because I really don't like this wording of being attacked or hated on or bullied. I am often called a bully in my comments. And I do understand that sometimes I maybe take things too far, say something that may be unwarranted and a bit hurtful, but my overall messaging is not bullying. This video is not about bullying Anna. This video is about Anna actively spreading misinformation, framing weight loss as futile, and positioning herself as a victim whenever anybody pushes back. I just get frustrated that any form of criticism or disagreement is labeled as hate. How are we supposed to have any real conversations or discussions if I'm not allowed to disagree with whatever the other person is saying? Anyway, enough of my ranting, going back to Anna's rant, and my current favorite content creator who covers Anna, Shakara Transformations, she had a really good and concise response to Anna here.
We first of all, I don't hate you. I dislike you because I think you're fucking obnoxious and you're an annoying personality. But besides that point, the issue is, I've made this very clear in many videos, the issue is that you're spreading medical misinformation. You're lying to yourself and you're lying to your audience. This is why we dislike you. Because you're wrong, you're not being honest.
Yep, couldn't agree more. And back to that topic of Anna saying that she's likely never going to wake up thin. Funny that she uses the word likely there. Like, no, Anna, you're not just gonna magically wake up thin, especially when you refuse to do the one thing that's required for weight loss, addressing your shit diet. So Anna is upset that she is likely never going to magically wake up thin. And she was ranting earlier about her losing weight wouldn't magically fix all of her health conditions. But at the same time, Anna also sees her liposuction surgeries as a magic cure for her lipedema. Like, this is gonna be the thing that's going to change her life and bring her everything that she's ever wanted. She even straight up called the surgery magic, saying that, and for my next magic trick, a first look at my new arms. And she's also talked about how she needs to hurry up and wait to see the results of her surgery, in one post writing that post-surgery hormonal changes don't get talked about enough. This week on the Medical Detectives, we also talk about how that hurry up and wait feeling that happens post-surgery. Surgical changes are never immediate, and the waiting for the result does take a toll on your mental health. Even liposuction is not fast enough for her. And to a lot of people, Anna took the easy way out by having liposuction. And I somewhat disagree with that. We've done the math here before. Even with her 4 liposuction surgeries that she's planned, there is no way that her surgeons could possibly remove the amount of weight that Anna still needs to lose. And especially now, 3 liposuctions in, and seeing that Anna has regained any of the weight that was sucked out, it is especially clear that this is no magic cure either. And that's the problem with Anna. She's looking for this magic cure. There is no one thing, one change change, one surgery or pill or injection that she can take that will fix all her problems. The best she can do, which still won't fix all her problems, will take a lot of work, a lot of time, and a lot of real changes. But rather than take the time to make those real changes, Anna says that she has to hurry up and wait for the results of her liposuction surgeries to show. And one last thing about this whole rant that Anna was on about. She was talking about magic weight loss cures that these influencers were supposedly peddling. Most people seem to think that Anna is referring to Alan Roberts, aka Angry Bald Man, because Alan has done many reactions to Anna's content, and apparently one of his reaction videos was very shortly before this rant post of hers. And I'm not exactly sure what Alan may have said or done to set Anna off, but Alan does seem to sell these sort of nutrition products that I think he has formulated himself, probably alongside some scientists or researchers. I'm honestly not too sure about that side of things, but Anna is out here heavily promoting liposuction as a cure to her obesity, while simultaneously pushing these questionable recovery techniques, like hyperbaric oxygen therapy, which Anna says is for wound healing, inflammation, and fatigue. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy is not FDA approved for any of those uses. Research on its effectiveness for inflammation and chronic conditions is limited at best, and it is not clinically proven to aid in lipedema or most of the issues that Anna claims to have. So I don't understand how Anna thinks it's perfectly okay to promote things like this, being a non-medical professional, and yet a fitness influencer promoting his own scientifically backed, heavily researched nutrition supplements is selling snake oil. And again, I'm not sure of the efficacy of Alan's products. That's not what this video is about. I'm just talking about how Anna is throwing around and promoting all these treatments and making money off of it, and yet she doesn't seem to see how hypocritical she's being. So with all that being said, what is Anna up to now? 3 surgeries in, with another liposuction scheduled for her abdomen at an unknown time. Has she done anything to improve her diet? Well, her recent trip to a baseball game has proven to most people that she still doesn't give a shit. And the lovely people on Reddit have made these before and after comparisons to show that these dietary choices have really put a halt in any sort of weight loss progress that Anna would have otherwise been able to make post-surgery. This before and after is considering that in the after, she is geared up head to toe in compression gear. So only time will tell how long before Anna is back to her highest weight. But at least she's still focused on improving her activity level, because apparently Anna is looking for a new sponsor. She's looking for a new wellness retreat to help her re-kickstart her training, writing, "Post my final surgery, I'm looking to go to a health and wellness resort for a bit of a restart to my training once I'm cleared, with the help of a team of experts. So does anyone have experience with one they really love? Doesn't have to be in the US. Focus is being able to have proper fitness/strength training to build a long-term plan, while also having access to things like MLD and other therapies, and obviously not focused on her food and diet choices at all." Anyway, the last thing that I wanted to talk about with Anna was her podcast, both her on the Medical Detectives as well as being a guest on a different podcast called the Lipedema Mamas. But this video has gotten so long, and I really want to wrap things up so I can get it edited and out for you guys. So please make sure to subscribe if you want to see that. And also, I am very quickly approaching 10K, which, like, honestly insane. Thank you guys so much. I was thinking that I'd do like a live react or something special when I hit that milestone, but it seems to be coming a bit too fast and I'm just not set up for that quite yet. So I don't know, if I hit 10K too soon, I might still have to wait until I move and I'm in a place where I have better internet and power connection. I don't know, you guys let me know. Would you even want to see a live? I'm not really sure, but for now, bye.